Hi, welcome to the first episode of Ag from the Past. This is Miss Wilma Metcalf, and she will be our first interviewee. And I am Isabel Fanning, your Vice President of POA for Madison FFA. So, Wilma, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Wilma Metcalf. I am currently I graduated high school in like 2009. I'm aging myself. Was an FFA all 4 years of high school. Went to Duke University for undergrad. Got a degree in public policy studies, and then worked in nonprofit management for about 5 years. And so now I am in Tampa, Florida. I'm in my last semester of law school, and so after May, I will take the bar, and then I will be working with the federal courts for a couple of years for a judge here in Tampa. So glad to be
That
here. Thanks
is,
for having me.
yeah, no problem. That's so cool. I didn't know you were from the Tampa area. I have a lot of family and friends down there. My grandmother actually had her teen years down there and then moved up to North Carolina. So that's kind of cool that can relate on that part.
Yeah, that's
Um,
really cool. Yeah, moved here 2.5, almost 3 years ago now, just for law school, and I don't think we're gonna leave. It's like 70 degrees outside right now.
oh, that's so nice. That's so, the weather here in North Carolina is so bipolar, and it was, I think it was like 3 days ago, it was like sunny, you could wear shorts and short sleeves, and then all of a sudden it's snowing again and we're out of school.
Right, right.
Never ends.
Really doesn't.
Um, so where did you go to begin with as like a college, like as your major, and then you moved down to Tampa for your law degree?
Yeah, so Duke is in Durham, and so I moved to Durham to and lived there. So I actually stayed in Durham. So I graduated college in 2013. Stayed in Durham, Raleigh area until I moved here. So I never really moved back home. But at Duke, I actually never I was never really from high school on. I was never really I knew I was never going to do an agriculture thing. But I still loved the FFA and I loved all of the experiences. So I actually came to college wanting to be pre med. And that honestly lasted about 2 weeks. And then I was like, this is not for me. And so then I immediately fell in love with public policy because I had always really wanted to live a life of service and to give back. And so I knew that public policy was probably the best way to do that because it opened a lot of different doors. And so FFA absolutely had a lot to do with that because there is just something about the community in FFA that really makes you care about people, like in a very different way than I think a lot of other high school experiences. And so, just being part of the chapter, being an officer, and then also I was a regional officer when I was there, and it was just being able to serve in that way, in that leadership capacity, was really fulfilling. And so, I was always and always have been, and still am, a little on the shyer, more introverted side. And so, it was really surprising in high school to learn that I really liked those experiences. But FFA really helped develop that and really started giving me like kind of a roadmap of how to like how to still stay introverted and shy and still like not die in social situations. But FFA was really good at giving me kind of a toolkit of how to draw on that energy in a very productive way and how to just say, I need space. And so I think FFA, and I didn't realize it until a little later on in life, really set me up well for that kind of experience because now, like in the legal field, you're doing presentations all the time, doing a lot of interviews. Things in FFA still keep coming back to being like, oh, well, my oral reasons at FFA served me really, really well in my moot court competitions because it was the same thing of saying, this is what I think and here's why. So FFA really, at the very heart of it, gave me the confidence and kind of gave me those like foundational tools to be able to serve in leadership capacities, both in college and working in nonprofit management. By the time I left, I was managing a team and was a director for a community health organization. And so I'm almost, I turned 30 in like less than a month, like almost 30 years old now, and still can like look at different personality characteristics and different things that's happened throughout the course of my life and been like, oh yeah, well, that was FFA, absolutely. And I still feel the FFA influence on my life. So I'm really glad that you guys are still around and doing great work.
Oh, well, we were glad that you had a huge impact on what FFA looks like now in Madison County, so we appreciate you. So you said you like the oral reasons. Did you compete when you were in FFA?
Yeah, I did several competitions. I did forestry, land judging, dairy judging, horse judging, parliamentary procedure, quiz bowl. I may be missing, sorry, Mr. Michael, Mr. Franklin, if you see this, I may be missing one or two, but those are the big ones.
Still a lot. You did a lot when you were in Madison.
Yeah, it was fun.
So I know that parliamentary procedure has a lot to do with your career now. Do you think that that is kind of what helped spark some of your aspiration to go down the law field?
Yeah, kind of. So what's funny is I expected parliamentary procedure to be a lot more like what I do now, and it's really not, honestly. And my husband laughs at me when I say this, but it was events like dairy judging and horse judging that actually prepared me the best for the law, because and it's like those oral reasons that I was talking about, like actually having to make a decision on something and be able to explain why. It's like that's all you do in like that's all you do in law school, and that's all you do as a lawyer basically, is try to do those explanations. So Parley was really helpful in like the more formal settings. Like this summer I worked at a big firm, and so I would participate in meetings where you would have to do the motions and the seconds, and you would have to know some of the rules. And so those have been really helpful, like tangentially to the more formal settings that I never thought I would be in. Like having, coming from being a girl that comes from the mountains, you don't really expect yourself to have a seat at the table most of the time. And so now that I can find myself in those experiences, parliamentary procedure absolutely helped prepare me for those, because then I can step up and be like, wait, I am like the stereotypes that you think about people who come from Madison County are completely wrong, because we are actually really smart and we know what we're talking about. So between Parley and again, like the oral reasons, I wouldn't be here without those skills, because they've just been instrumental to getting me here.
Going back, so a little bit ago, we talked about how you were an officer also on the regional level.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite part about like that? What was the most impactful part on you going towards the regional level?
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed the leadership conference that the officers got to plan and lead. I mean, going to the events was fun and all, and like getting to connect with members one-on-one at events. But there was something about that regional conference, about the team of officers coming together and actually creating something, was really special. Like I still remember the session that one of the other officers and I led, and it was about it was called "What's Your 20?" and it's like trying to figure out how to orient yourself, and it was kind of like a leadership skills workshop. And so it was just a really cool experience to be there with other high schoolers like our age and kind of learn from each other in a way that you really weren't interacting like just by going to competitions where you were there and then you weren't while people were judging, and then you would come back. And so it was a little more intimate, and I really enjoyed getting to meet the members and working alongside them at the regional conference.
Wow, that's amazing. So with that, with the 4 years you were at FFA, what was like your favorite outstanding memory of that? It can be funny, it could be like a serious, like impactful thing.
Oh my goodness. So unfortunately, I think it's serious and it's kind of sad. So we did, I think it was my senior year. Ben would remember, Ben Rice would remember, but it was our parliamentary procedure team, and we were at state competition, and I mean, we were killing it. We killed the first round, and we did so well. And then we got to the second round, and I don't remember exactly what happened before the second or before the next round, but we flopped. We did terribly. The second round, we didn't advance, we didn't win, we didn't get any of the great things that really we all felt like we should have, because we just were a really great team. We worked really well together. We worked our butts off to get there. And so I'm really sad that that's the memory that I have, but it has been like, I think when you're trying to do something different kind of with your life, it's really helpful to have those kinds of experiences early on because it builds resilience. And so, life doesn't always work out the way you want it to. It doesn't work out the way that it needs to all the time. And so I just really appreciate having that experience while in high school because I think like a lot of, especially the officers in the FFA are high achieving and don't really fail that often. And so to be able to fail that way and such a big way for us at the time, because it was a state competition and we were almost there. We almost won the stupid thing. And to be able to figure out how to lose gracefully, and then how to kind of rebuild like yourself and your confidence and to kind of learn how to be reflective about those experiences, like that has been probably the best lesson FFA ever taught me. I mean, we had some really, really great times, but when I think back on like really impactful moments with the chapter and with the organization, it's honestly those times where we didn't do well. Because I just learned so much more from those than the times when we were celebrating because Madison won yet another competition.
No, I can understand. It's always because life is so unpredictable, so I can understand where the lesson learned comes from that.
Yeah.
So let's lighten the mood a little bit. What is one of the funniest things that happened to you or that you did when you were in FFA?
So we used to do, I don't know if you guys still do it. We used to do a haunted house as a fundraiser at the school. And we would do it and it was through it was Mr. Franklin and Mr. Michael for us, but it was the 2 ag classrooms. And then we would have like the ag shop and then like the welding area, like everything was kind of set up. We created a haunted house. And so probably one of my favorite memories was going through the haunted house because I'm a chicken and always have been, always will be. And so someone finally convinced me to go through this haunted house fundraiser. And of course, they all knew that I was terrified. And so I don't think I got halfway through. I mean, it's a bunch of high schoolers. Looking back now, you're like, how could you have been scared of that? But, here we are. And it was, and I probably got halfway through it and just like ran screaming out the door because I just couldn't do it anymore. And it was so funny. And it wasn't bullying or anything, but it was so funny because, you look back on that and you're like, you're an idiot. Like, what are you doing? But there was this like guy, and I don't remember the kid's name, so I'm sorry, but I believe he was covered in blood with a chainsaw, like with no things on it, obviously. But he was just like standing there, wasn't even charging, and it just like completely freaked out, and everyone's laughing, and I don't even care. Like, at that point, it's like I'm dying, so I'm gonna.
We're out.
I'm out.
Oh, I can understand. Me and anything horror related do not get along.
Right. And now I'll watch things like American Horror Story, and I'm fine. And so maybe FFA taught me how to like scary things. Oh no, I doubt it.
Who knows? I may have to dig back into the past and bring that up next year as like a Halloween event. That actually sounds like a lot of fun. I had no idea that happened.
It really was fun. It really was.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
remember if we did it more than once. I think I still have PTSD from it, but it definitely happened.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
This sounds hilarious too, though. Man.
Right. No, and we did a really good job. I wish I could take credit for it, but I think I had very little to do with the planning of it, which is probably why I was terrified because I had no idea what was going on.
I can get that. The unexpected.
Right, of course.
Very scary.
Of course.
So to wrap up here, what is some advice or like one piece of advice that's helped you through life that you would like to give our FFA members today?
Let's see. I think the best piece of advice I ever got was to never forget where you come from. I think and I can speak from my own experience. I think when I got to Duke, there was I felt a certain pressure to not be the person from the mountains anymore. So as you can tell, like I've lost my accent at this point, and it's mostly, honestly, you can blame FFA for that because of all the public speaking that we used to do. But I felt a certain pressure to not live that culture, I guess. And so, and for a while, I think I I may have, I think for a while there, gave in to the pressure, and I really regret it now. Because when I met my husband, my now husband, I took him to meet the family. Like it was a couple of months after we met, and I took him to Madison County. He's originally from Raleigh, and his like it's two different worlds, right? Like we come from two very different worlds, and so I took him back home, and I was super nervous about it, because I knew how differently. I mean, it's just a different life, a mountain life versus an urban life, and so I was a little nervous to see how he would react to it, and he was just so amazed. Like it was a learning experience almost for him, and it was just kind of this like moment of clarity that was like, what are you doing? Like, respect where you come from, respect the um and respect how you were made, basically, because we're all a product of where we come from in some ways. And so to turn your back on that is, it's not good for you, and it's not good for where you come from. And so I think that's the best piece of advice I ever got, was to never, like, just to not turn your back on where you came from, and to always rely on the people who got you there. So people like Mr. Ayers, people like the ag advisors that I had, Mr. Franklin and Mr. Michaels. Mr. Michael, I always do that. I am so indebted to everyone, because it really takes a village to get you to where you're going to be, and you don't do it by yourself. And so if any of the members ever do venture out and live in a different place, just, don't forget where you come from, and be proud of it. And now it's one of the first, it's almost like a party trick at this point to be like, oh, I'm from the mountains, and it's the best place in the world. And, and people know Asheville now, but it's like, it wasn't like that when I was growing up, and it's awesome now. But yeah, sorry, that was very rambling, but that's probably the best piece of advice I ever got from someone who was like trying to tell me to stop being such a little brat. So.
Well, that's advice that I'm gonna I've heard it before, but I'll take that and put it into my life as well.
Yeah.
Well, it was great speaking with you, Miss Metcalf, and I wish you good luck on the bar, and thank you for talking with me and our members. And to the members watching, thank you for watching, and have a great day.